ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. So welcome to our Saturday morning session. We will continue on our journey of chapter 15 of Bhagavad Gita, Purushottam Yog Adhyay. And now we will take up verse number 3 onwards. So let us take the verse number 3 first. इस संसार वृक्ष का स्वरूप जैसा कहा गया है वैसा यहां पाया नहीं जाता, क्योंकि न तो इसका आदि है न इसका कोई अंत है तथा न इसकी अच्छी प्रकार से स्थिति ही है। इसलिए इस अहंता, ममता और वासना रूप अति मूलों वाले संसार रूप पीपल के वृक्ष को दृढ़ वैराग्य रूप शस्त्र द्वारा काट कर, देन नेक्स्ट वर्स, उसके पश्चात उस परम पद रूप परमेश्वर को भली भांति खोजना चाहिए, जिसमें गए हुए पुरुष फिर लौटकर संसार में नहीं आते, और जिस परमेश्वर से ये पुरातन संसार वृक्ष की प्रवृत्ति विस्तार को प्राप्त हुई है, उसी आदि पुरुष नारायण के मैं शरण हूं। इस प्रकार दृढ़ निश्चय करके मैं उस परमेश्वर का मनन तथा निधि ध्यासन करना चाहिए। Now, in the first two verses, we saw that this sansar rupi tree has roots upstairs and branches downstairs, and it starts becoming less and less pure as it comes down. Like the river at the origin is purest, and then slowly lot of impurities continue to grow. And second point, very important, was that each one of us, Manushya Jati particularly, create its own branch for living in this world, and that branch becomes a sansar for him. Like we gave an example that somebody wants to, for example, become a film director or film producer. Now he gets involved into all things related to the film. He will look at the history of films. He will study all the films, stories concerning films. He will find out what is attractive in the market. He will work for the production. He will identify the actors, actresses, directors, lightmen, all the supporting staff. He will choose the locations where filming has to be done. Then he will get in touch with the distributors. He will find out theaters where it can go. He will also try to export it to foreign destinations. He will do marketing, how the advertisements will come in. So a whole world of its own continues to grow. So we grow our own branch. That branch is our own world. Each one of us is engaged in growing our own world, that branch which we are promoting based on our own desires, own decisions, our own tendencies which we have. So this is how the sansar continues. Sansar grows. Sansar actually grows on us, because we are the creator. So we must understand that this sansar has not been created by others. It is created by us. And the two important factors in creation of this world are, one is that the three attributes of nature, Sat, Raj and Tam. Depending the combination of that in our own body system, we will continue to pursue those activities which are in consonance with the three attributes in our body system. And secondly, the body, the mind and sense organs. What our mind wants, what the desires are, what the vasanas are. Depending on those two combinations, we create a world. So the world is created by us. It is not given to us. We create, each one of us creates a world for our own self, and we live in that world. This is what Lord Krishna is saying. And the leaves are the Vedas, because in the course of creating this world, we pass through many experiences, and we learn things because of those experiences, and that is working like the leaves on a branch, which is like the Ved. We keep learning and we keep moving forward. So that was the crux of the first two verses. Now, verse number 3, because this is related to the first two verses. Now, how do we overcome it? Now, Lord Krishna is saying that what you see in this world is not what has been described in the previous two verses. That is what he's saying. इस संसार वृक्ष का स्वरूप जैसा कहा गया है वैसा यहां पाया नहीं जाता. इट इज नॉट फाउंड दैट वे, क्योंकि इसका न आदि है न अंत है. नाउ व्हाट डज इट मीन? You know, we have this curiosity to know how this world began. And nobody has been able to give an answer to this so far. And Lord Krishna is saying exactly the same thing, that there is no beginning and no end to this world, and you can never understand it. Why? For example, if I want to go back in my own world, my father, my mother, then their father and their mother, then their father and their mother, and then their father. I keep going backwards millions and billions of times, because you will always get a question that if, for example, my great 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 grandfather, if he came into this world, he has to have a parents. Without that, he cannot be in the world. And therefore, his parents should also be there, parents should be there. So it's a infinite chain in the back. And you can never find a point where the origin started. So that's what he's saying, that in this world, we cannot find the origin. We cannot find the Adi, where it began. Like a tree, for example, we have a people tree. Now, or take mango tree, for example. Mango tree has a seed. Now you sow the seed, another tree comes. The tree again gives a mango seed, then again another tree comes. Now, if you want to analyze where the first mango tree came, you cannot, because you have to go backward into the seed and then mango and then seed and then mango tree and then seed and mango tree. This is an infinite chain backwards. You cannot find the origin. This is the chicken and egg story. So Lord Krishna is saying, don't get involved into that. There's no point in asking this question, how this world came into being. Because with our limited body-mind complex, we will never understand it. And that's what he's saying. Don't try to understand this. This is neither has beginning nor has an end. And we have limited capacity, and therefore we should not get involved into that. So this is one thing we must be very clear, that we should not get involved into questions which has no proper answers to our body-mind complex. So this is first thing here. We cannot find the origin or the end. अच्छी प्रकार से स्थिति भी नहीं है इसकी, because if you can't have the origin, if you can't have the end, then it has no proper middle as well. And another reason of it doesn't having a proper middle age, that you see, how do we analyze the world? Let's understand this. How do we analyze the world? How do we understand the world? We have sense organs through which we perceive. There's a tree, there is a earth, there is sun, moon, physical objects. We try to understand the physical world through our sense organs, or with the sound or with the touch, whatever, the 5 sense organs. And then we have the mind. We analyze with mind and with our intellect, and we try to understand the world. Now, unfortunately, the sense organs, mind, and the intellect, they are also constantly undergoing a change. If we examine our own mind, our thinking process in childhood was very different than what it is today. Our thinking process 10 years ago was very different than it is today. So our own instrument of measurement of the world is undergoing a change. So how do you analyze that change? Because the instrument itself is changing. For example, if the quantity of a liter of milk is constantly changing, sometimes you take 1 glass, sometimes you take half glass, sometimes you take 3/4 of glass, then how will you measure the quantity? You cannot. So the given this fact that the measuring instrument which is in our body mind complex is also changing, we cannot measure this world properly. It's not possible for us to measure the world or to understand the world. And that is why Lord Krishna is saying, don't try to understand this. There's no need for that. And you will not find its beginning, you will not find its end. It's the chicken egg story which will continue forever. And similarly, even the middle portion you will not understand properly because your body mind complex is undergoing constant change. And therefore, you see a city today, you have a different perception. You go tomorrow morning, you have a very different perception. You go to a park this evening, you have a very different perception. Next day you go, you have a very different perception. So all these are undergoing constant change, and therefore it doesn't have a proper स्थिति. एक जगह उसकी स्थिति भी नहीं हो सकती क्योंकि the measuring instruments are undergoing change. So this is what he wants to say. So what should we do? He has given a very good answer to that. इसलिए अहमता, ममता और वासना रूप अति दृढ़ मूलों वाले इसकी जो रूट्स हैं, the roots are very deep and very strong because we keep creating. Every human being is creating a world of his own or her own, and therefore the roots are very, very deep. You try to understand those roots, you will never understand because they have been going on for what, billions of years. These roots are going on that way. इसलिए how do you get rid of it? पीपल के वृक्ष को दृढ़ वैराग्य रूप शस्त्र द्वारा काटकर. Now this is what the Sanskrit word here is. असंग शस्त्रेण छित्वा. Asang sastren chitva. Now, asang means to detach from this world. So you detach from this world. Detach yourself. Don't get involved. Don't promote that branch on which you are sitting or which you are, making your own world. Try to detach. And then use that detachment as a weapon to become separate from that. So this separation is the only way. Separation from this world means आसक्ति से अलग होना, आसक्ति को छोड़ना. This is what he's saying. असंग सस्त्रेण means संग को छोड़ देना, असंग हो जाना. Don't get into the company of this world. Detach yourself from this. And then you keep that aside and keep yourself aside. Now this is where the chapter 13 comes into play again. Kshetra and Kshetragya. Because the Kshetragya is mixed with Kshetra in our body-mind complex. The Chetana is mixed with this body-mind complex. Therefore, it's not easy for us to distinguish between the two. But if we try to detach ourselves from this world, asang sastren, then we can slowly identify our Chaitanya separately and this world separately. And then your activities in this world become like basically like a theater. Like you are playing in a theater, nothing beyond that. So then your activities will become Leela. So you don't get attached. Usme involvement, there should be no involvement. You do the things because you are living here, therefore you're supposed to do it. You act, you finish with this and leave it. So this is what he's saying. That don't try to understand this world. You will never understand because it has no beginning, it has no end, it has no proper, established system. And since your own body-mind complex instruments are undergoing changes, you will not understand it. Therefore, there's a futile exercise doing it. What you should do is just detach yourself from the world and identify yourself with Kshetragya, that you are the Chaitanya. and then you can move forward. This is what he's saying here. And by doing that, what should we do further? Then verse number 4. उसके पश्चात परम पद रूप परमेश्वर को भली भांति खोजना चाहिए. Then you try to understand that, that power which is constantly there, from which there's another word which has been used here. परमेश्वर से इस पुरातन संसार वृक्ष की प्रवृत्ति को विस्तार को प्राप्त हुई है. So this sansar vraksh has grown from that Parmeshwar, from that universal consciousness, from where this sansar vraksh has come into existence. So we should understand the roots of this sansar, roots of this, existence in which we are. And those roots originate in the universal consciousness, the Almighty, the Supreme, from where these roots have come out. And we should not get involved into these branches, leaves, and flowers, and all these other things of the tree. We should try to reach the roots. We identify the origin, which the origin lies in the universal consciousness, and therefore surrender to that consciousness that I'm originating from there, and that's my origin, and that's what I am. Then you will be able to get out of this world. I think this is a very practical example. The verse number 3 and 4, they tell us how to get out of this world. Because getting into this world, there are so many attractions, and as you do more things, the more, what you call, it's a geometric progression. As soon as you get involved into this world, any new thing comes up, you will have geometric progression. Like I give you an example. 2 days ago, I went for a function they invited me for. Now, in that function, you meet a variety of people. All those people say, somebody says, you come to my event, come to this thing, can I contact you? I need this. So you have 10 different, people who are approaching you for variety of reasons. Or you also want to get involved. Now you will have, from one function, you have 10 branches which have come out. And those 10 branches each branch will again give you another 10 branch each. Every time you go, you get involved. So your involvement in the world will continue to grow if you remain in the sansar. So sansar se actually asang means you should get out of this, association with the world. And as soon as you get out, then slowly, you will, reach the Kshetrajna part, you will reach the universal consciousness, you will identify your roots from where the tree began, and once you become one with him, with the root, then you don't have to come back to this world. That is what he is saying. Let's understand this properly. इसके पश्चात उस परम पद रूप परमेश्वर को भली भांति खोजना चाहिए. Where do we identify that? In the roots, because the roots are the places where we can find the universal consciousness, जिसमें गए हुए पुरुष फिर संसार में नहीं लौटते हैं, और जिस परमेश्वर से इस पुरातन संसार वृक्ष की प्रवृत्ति विस्तार को प्राप्त हुई है. This Puratan means it's a very, eternally in existence, all the time in existence. That kind of tree, we can get rid of that tree by reaching the roots. And once we reach the root, then you will surrender yourself to the Supreme. आदि पुरुष नारायण के मैं शरण में चला जाता हूं. And once you are in total surrender to the Supreme, you leave everything to him, then there's nothing to worry about. The whole universe will take care of you. I have this experience. Many times, you try to do things in your best possible way. This apply your brain power, you consult other people, use their intellectual capability, and then you work out a solution, it doesn't work, and you get frustrated. Then you say, no, no, I don't want to get into all that process. I accept things as they come. I'll do best as per my thinking. Whatever I think right thing, I do it. And whatever results come, I accept it. Then things work very smoothly. I have this experience multiple times. The acceptance of the results will give you the best or the optimal outcome in every situation. And in any case, even if you don't get the optimal outcome, you will not be frustrated in any case because your expectations are not there. So the root is that the thrust of the two verses is that identify yourself with the root of the tree, that is the supreme power, and then surrender to him. Once you do that, then your involvement into the world will disappear slowly, slowly, and then you will not come back into this world. Now, here there's one question which is always asked. Some people want to come back into this world. Yes, you should come back. You then you don't have to try these two verses. Then you look for the world to come back. You will come back. There's no doubt about it. These verses are useful only for those who want to attain moksha, those who want to attain nirvana, those who want to get out of this world. Why? Because this world ultimately gives you unhappiness, distress, stress. Ultimately, every single activity which you do for your happiness ends up and finally gives you the same distress with which you started. For example, you want to have a house, you don't have a house, you construct a house. Once you have constructed a house, you get happiness, you are happy. After a few months, you see somebody has a bigger house. Oh, I should get that bigger one. So then again, the whole tendency of distress and stress starts, and then you work for that. Then somebody has a car, so oh, I should get a car. So, this process continues forever, leading you to distress. I have seen people in the Western world, particularly, with tremendous amount of wealth, billions of dollars. They have tasted all types of food. They wear the best clothing, and the suits which cost about $20,000 per suit, things like that. Designer, whatever they want to say. They've traveled around the world. They have experienced, sensual pleasures, gone to variety of clubs and nightclubs and God knows, but they are ultimately unhappy. As the age comes 40, 50, 60, they are the most depressed person because those tools which are available to you in your youth for happiness, they last after a while, they disappear. Their pleasure is transient, and then when the pleasure disappears, then again you are, and then they get into what? Alcoholism, drug addiction, things like that. So this is what the world is all about. And each one of us are also going to have problem. We will have a health problem. Old age, we will have problems. Our body will become weak. Our sense organs will become weak. The end is always tragic. Maybe we will be hospitalized. So it's a Greek tragedy, the human life. And, the beginning is also tragic because you live in a prison in the womb for months. And once you come out, you are absolutely, without any capabilities. You don't know, you nissaha jisko karte hain, absolutely dependent on others. And then you have all these things, youth and all that. But then you have illnesses, they come into being, your desires lead to distress. Then when the old age comes, your body becomes weak, your senses become weak, and you have a lot of fears in that time. So all these things, the human life, those who have experienced it properly, they will all tell you that this is nothing but tragedy. And that is why you want moksha. The reason for moksha is this, that I don't want to come back in this life. But there are people who want to come back. They say, we enjoyed, we are happy. So let them come back. These verses are not for those kind of people. That's what I wanted to say. So if you want to attain, nirvana, if you want to become one with the Supreme, then these verses are important, that you detach yourself from the world and surrender yourself to the Supreme, and then continue. In that case, you will not be coming back in the world. After the end of this life, you will not take a rebirth. Now, next verse number 5. जिनका मान और मोह नष्ट हो गया है, जिन्होंने आसक्ति रूप दोष को जीत लिया है, जिनकी परमात्मा के स्वरूप में नित्य स्थिति है और जिनकी कामनाएं पूर्ण रूप से नष्ट हो गई हैं, वे सुख दुख नामक द्वंद्वों से विमुक्त ज्ञानी जन उस अविनाशी परम पद को प्राप्त हो जाते हैं. अविनाशी परम पद. Param Pad, we must understand what is Param Pad. The word Param has been used in Sanskrit for the ultimate. So Param Pad means the ultimate destination where you have to go. Beyond that, there is no destination. And that is what Param Pad is. Now, in this chapter, Lord Krishna has in certain ways summarized some of the things which he has told earlier. Here he has talked about this, dualities of the world in variety of chapters before, particularly chapter number 7, 9, and 10. And now he is summarizing them. He's saying that man or moha nast ho gaya hai, that you are not involved into an exercise where you are working for your prestige, that I have to become a prominent citizen in this society. You're not working for that. More means you are attached. You remain involved into XYZ thing, whether it is family, whether it's society, whether it's your business organization, whether it's an institution. You are not involved. You do your work as a duty, but you are not attached to it more. आसक्ति रूप दोष को जीत लिया. That is what he says. Asakti means your attachment is over. You are not attached into that. Then परमात्मा में नित्य स्थिति है. That we keep reminding ourselves all the time that I am part and parcel of the Supreme. I have come from there and ultimately I have to go back there. And he is the one who is sustaining us. Now, even if you look practically, our life is sustained as long as we have what we call consciousness in our body. The moment the consciousness disappears or goes away, then the body becomes, we call it mitti, it becomes useless, it is dissolved into the 5 elements. So, practically also we know that it is the consciousness which keeps us alive, which gives us the power to hear, to talk, to see, to taste, all that power which we have, the intellectual power, the thinking power, all that power is there only as long as we have this Chaitanya into us. So the Chaitanya is what? Paramatma. So this Paramatma has given us this power. As long as I have this Paramatma inside me, I have that power. So we should realize that all the time we should keep reminding us that this Chaitanya is Paramatma, and as long as this Chaitanya is inside my body-mind complex, I am living. Otherwise, I am not here anymore. That's it. So that is a reminder that yes, If I'm in existence, if I'm talking, if I'm walking, if I'm eating, if I'm sleeping, it is because of Paramatma. I think this is not difficult to understand and grasp. I remember when I was young child in village Ajitgarh where I was born up. My grandparents and other old people, every time when they eat their food, they will pray to the Almighty. They will say that you have given us the food. When they take their bath, they will pray to the Almighty. When they go to the temple, of course, they will pray to the Almighty. When they meet somebody, then also they will say Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, as they will say these words, because this keeps reminding them about their association with the Supreme, about the Supreme Soul, about the consciousness. So that reminder constantly that I have come from there and I am alive because of that. And once I leave this body, I'll be again gone there. That reminder is the one which means that you are Nitya Paramatma mein sthit hai. You are all the time constantly with the Supreme. This is what he says. कामनाएं पूर्ण रूप से नष्ट हो गई हैं. That your desires, once you are, you know, one with the with the Chaitanya, or once you devote yourself or surrender yourself to the Supreme, I tell you, your desires go away. Actually, your desires go away. You don't feel like having this or that. They get reduced one by one. I feel it. I had a lot of desires when I was young. Visit this place, buy this thing, go to that restaurant, all kinds of things. Now, slowly, they are coming down. I don't feel like, going out or buying this thing or that thing or even travel, everything slowly reducing. And you are happy. With reduced needs, you are very happy. So that happiness actually increases multifold. That is what I feel. So we need not to look for transient happiness in objects outside. Once you start realizing that you are part and parcel of the Supreme and Supreme is sustaining you, then automatically a feeling will come when your desires will go down and you will have, what you call eternal sort of happiness, which will be reflected on your face all the time. So this is what he says. सुख दुख नामक द्वंद्वों से विमुक्त, that he has already mentioned earlier also, that all these dualities, whether coming out of variety of things. In chapter 12 also there are a lot of talk about these dualities and surrender to the Supreme. So he has summarized these things here in this verse number 5. This is very important. In fact, we don't have to go to too many verses on this issue. We just take this verse number 5, that जिनका मान और मोह नष्ट हो गया है. मान means we are not looking for prestige. We are not remain attached to any. Asakti, we are not attached to anything more. Paramatma mein sthiti, that we are constantly reminding ourselves that I am in existence because of him. Kamna hai aapki, slowly, once you have that the feeling that you are here because of the Supreme, your desires will automatically go down, but in any way they will go down. Then you go overcome the dualities of, whatever you call happiness, unhappiness, enmity and friendship, or near and distant. All those dualities will disappear. There would be no dualities at all. And then you will be one with the Supreme again. So these three verses are good enough for us if we can. In fact, we understand the world, the sansar, with the help of the first two verses, and then with remaining three verses, we can attain moksha. We don't have to go anywhere else in Bhagavad Gita or any other, Vedic writings. This is good enough. That is why this particular chapter is so deep. It tells you everything which you need to know. And if you more things will come further down, but these 5 verses are actually a very good summary of our what you call sadhana. whatever we want to do in this world, this gives us a great, uh, what you call, foundation to move onwards. Now we'll take one more verse number 6. जिस परम पद को प्राप्त होकर मनुष्य लौट कर संसार में नहीं आते, वह स्वयं प्रकाश परम पद न सूर्य उसको प्रकाशित कर सकता है, न चंद्रमा कर सकता है, न अग्नि कर सकती है, वह मेरा परम धाम है. You must have heard from some of the people, those who are really saint and achieved unity with the Supreme. They will tell you that they experience is sort of, unusual light in their own, body or in their mind. And that light is extremely, what you call bright. And with that light, they understand everything else. Now, we can understand, I'll give you an example to understand this. The Paramdham, or the Supreme Self, does not need anything else to lighten, or they don't need any outside object to be recognized. For example, you will not recognize my body, me, unless I am in light. The sunlight or electricity light, whatever. If that light is not there, I will not be visible to you. There's a tree outside, you will not be able to see that tree unless there is light. It may be electricity light, it may be sunlight, it may be something else. So, चीजें प्रकाशित होती हैं. सन, लाइट एंड फायर और मून, उनसे चीजों को प्रकाशित करने पे हम उनको देख सकते हैं. We can see that. You want to identify your home in the middle of the night when there's total darkness. You cannot. You need some light to identify. When you come home, you want to open the lock. You don't have the light, then you don't know where to put the key. You need to put the light somewhere to see the lock and then put the key inside. So प्रकाशित होने पर ही चीजों को देखा जा सकता है. You can understand this world only when it is, in some sort of light. But there is something which doesn't require that light. It is very important to understand. There are certain things, the only one thing in this universe which does not require any light. It can see itself. And that is your own self. You may be in deep darkness sitting somewhere, but you can recognize yourself that I am sitting here. You can be deep in the ocean, still you can recognize yourself that I am here. This self does not require any outside light to be understood or to be known, while everything else in this universe which you see around requires some sort of light. So this is what Lord Krishna is saying, that this is Swam Prakashit hai, this Paramdham. So this Paramdham is right here in our own self. And it is Swaprakashit. You don't need any outside light to understand it. In fact, it gives you the light to understand the rest of the world. Because without that Chaitanya, you cannot understand the rest of the world, even if there is light. So a dead body also has that. Because it doesn't have Chaitanya, it cannot understand the world. So Chaitanya is the one which enables you to understand everything else. And for understanding this Chaitanya, you don't need any outside light. Neither sun, nor moon, nor Agni. You don't need anything. It is self-enlightened. So this is what Lord Krishna is saying, that ye Param Dham jo hai, this is right here inside us, and it does not require any, other object to light it, to give it prakas, to give it, some sort of visibility, because it is self-illuminating. It illuminates itself. It doesn't require any illumination to be recognized. In fact, this is the only illumination which enables you to understand this world. Without this illumination, you cannot understand the world. Even if there's a sunlight, even if there's a fire, even if there's a, other sort of light. So this self-illuminated self is the Paramdham that is all inside us. Once we reach that Paramdham, once we understand that Paramdham, I think that is the final destination of life. So this is what Lord Krishna has tried to explain in very precise word in these 6 verses, that what is sansar. We should not try to understand this sansar, because this is, what you call unintelligible. It is insensible. It has no beginning, no end. So don't get involved into that. It has no proper, location either. So don't get involved into that. You have to just detach yourself from this. Asang, detach. Chitwa, alag, separate yourself. That your Kshetragya should be separate from this sansar. And once you do that, then you will identify the root of your origin, which is the Paramatma. And once you are one with Paramatma, then you don't need anything else. And that Paramatma is in your own self. It is the source of all the lights. It is the source of all illumination. It is the one which enables you to understand everything else. And it doesn't require any illumination. The only thing in the world which doesn't require any illumination is your own self. In the deep darkness, you can understand that I am here. In the, deep down in the ocean, you can understand that I am here. Right on the peak of a mountain, you can understand that I am here. Whether it is daylight or, absolutely no light, or morning time or afternoon time, evening time, you don't require any illumination to understand your own self. And that own self actually enables you to understand everything else in this universe. So this is the very deep verses. These verses are very, very deep. The sansar, it got nirman moha, jit sang dosha, and the other word is vinivrat kama, adhyatma nitya, dvandva vimukta. These are Sanskrit words. Dvandva vimukta, all the dualities, keep them aside. Adhyatma nitya means you are all the time in the unity with the Supreme. Vinivrat kama, that you are away from all the desires. Nirman moha, that you are away from all attachments. Jit sang dosa. Jit sang dosa means you have all your senses are under your control. So all that, these are some of the what you call adjectives which have been used. These are very dense adjectives. They give you total understanding of life and how we can overcome the dualities, and how we can overcome the distress, how we can overcome the stress of life. So with this, I will conclude today, and then we will continue next week on further verse number 7 onwards.